The greenhouse effect is an important component in understanding how heating works on the Earth. Now, essentially what's happening in the greenhouse effect is energy is coming from the sun to the Earth. And that energy can do a lot of different things. It can hit our atmosphere and be reflected into space, that energy never reaching the Earth. It can come down to the surface and be reflected by the surface out into space. It can come down to the surface and heat the surface, and then some of that energy can then go back into space. It can enter our atmosphere, come down to the surface, heat the surface, and then this is the component of the greenhouse effect that you need to understand, is that in our atmosphere are greenhouse gases. Now, some of those greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, which you've heard of, methane, and nitrous oxides. These are greenhouse gases, and what they do is when the energy from the sun enters our atmosphere, they come in contact with these molecules, and the energy causes these molecules to vibrate, and then they give off infrared radiation, which we know as heat. That's what's shown right here. It's going back to the surface. I always like to ask my students if they think, before we ever talk about this, if the greenhouse effect is a good or a bad thing, and you get different answers. But it's actually both. It's a good thing because without it, the planet would be too cold. In the last ice age, the average temperature on the planet was 5 degrees cooler than it is today. Without the greenhouse effect, it would be 60 degrees cooler than it is today. We'd basically be a giant snowball. So the greenhouse effect is very important for life to exist on this planet because it'd be too cold without it. However, if you increase the amount of greenhouse gases, then you increase the heat that is coming back to the planet. And if that's the case, then this ends up being a bad thing because the planet will warm up more than it normally would. And this is what we refer to as global warming.